Hello and welcome to the Midnight Archive. I'm Mike, the producer. We need your help in the comments. Let us know what's working. Let us know the kind of stories you're wanting to hear. Let us know if the video you watched is the kind of story you want to hear. We're really trying to follow what our subscribers and our viewers are watching, what they want. Not just view counts, not just likes, dislikes, but we want to hear from you. So the more active you are on our channel with comments, the more you're going to help form what this channel is going to be like and what kind of stories are going to come on it. So give us a shout. And we do not publish notifications to our subscribers. You can always check your subscriptions and find our videos at the Midnight Archive. But just for, you're not going to get an email that we released a new video. We try to stay consistent, and we're trying to do the kinds of videos that y'all are looking for. So let us know in the comments, and regardless of which host you're listening to, we're hoping we're bringing it for you. Satisfying that itch in the back of your brain. So y'all take care and on to your story.
Chapter 1. Stranded. The autumn sun hung low through the pine canopy as Marcus, Sarah, Jake, and Riley emerged from the forest trail, their day packs light after 8 hours of hiking. The crisp October air carried the scent of dying leaves and distant wood smoke. "Best hike of the semester," Sarah laughed, pulling her auburn hair from its ponytail. "My legs are going to hate me tomorrow." Marcus fumbled for his keys, eager to start the 2-hour drive back to campus. Then he stopped. His face went pale. What the hell? All 4 tires of his black SUV had been systematically destroyed. Not punctured, shredded. Long, deliberate cuts carved through the rubber like claw marks. The vehicle sat useless on its rims. Jake knelt beside the nearest tire, running his fingers along the jagged tears. This wasn't random. Someone did this on purpose. Riley pulled out his phone, frantically swiping. No signal. Nothing. The logging road stretched empty in both directions, disappearing into shadows between towering pines. They hadn't seen another car in hours. The nearest highway lay 8 miles through dense wilderness. "We have to walk," Marcus said, though his voice lacked conviction. Sarah checked her watch. "It'll be dark in 2 hours. We'd never make it." A branch snapped somewhere in the forest. Heavy. Deliberate. They froze, listening. Silence stretched between them, broken only by wind rustling through leaves. Then came another sound, breathing. Low and ragged, just beyond the treeline. "We're camping here tonight," Marcus whispered. "Stay close to the car." They gathered pine boughs for bedding and built a small fire using matches from Jake's emergency kit. The flames pushed back the encroaching darkness, but seemed to make the forest beyond more threatening. Strange sounds drifted from the shadows, footsteps circling their position, staying just out of sight. Something was watching them. Chapter 2. First Blood. Marcus took first watch while the others huddled in their makeshift camp. The fire crackled between them and the forest, casting dancing shadows that seemed to move with purpose. "Wake me in 4 hours," he told Sarah, settling against a fallen log with a hiking stick across his lap. Sarah's dreams were filled with growling sounds and the sensation of being stalked. She woke around 3 a.m. to find Marcus's sleeping bag empty, except for dark, wet stains soaking into the fabric. The metallic smell of blood hung heavy in the cold air. "Marcus," she whispered. No answer. His hiking stick lay snapped in half beside the dying fire. Drag marks led from his sleeping bag into the forest, parallel furrows carved deep into the soft earth. At the edge of the firelight, something pale caught her eye. Marcus's torn day pack hung from a pine branch 30 feet above the ground, slowly dripping. Sarah's scream shattered the silence. Jake and Riley jolted awake, instantly alert. Sarah pointed with a shaking finger toward the trees. "He's gone. Marcus is gone." They found more blood near the treeline, along with strange scratches gouged into the bark. The marks were too large to be made by any animal they knew, arranged in patterns that suggested intelligence. From somewhere deep in the forest came the sound of feeding, wet, tearing noises punctuated by satisfied grunts. "We have to go," Riley said, his voice barely audible. "Right now." But Jake was staring at the drag marks, his face white with terror. "Look at the spacing. Look at the depth." The furrows were too wide for human hands. Chapter 3. The Hunt Begins. Dawn brought no relief. They broke camp in terrified silence, gathering their few belongings while avoiding the blood-stained ground where Marcus had slept. The forest felt different in daylight, not safer, just more openly hostile. "Highway's 8 miles northeast," Jake said, consulting his compass with trembling fingers. "We follow the old logging road." They hadn't walked 100 yards before the sounds began. Heavy footsteps paralleled their path, staying just out of sight among the trees. Branches snapped under considerable weight. Occasionally they glimpsed movement, a dark shape keeping pace with their progress. "It's following us," Sarah whispered. They found the first marker after 2 miles. A sharpened stick, thick as a man's arm, embedded 6 feet up in a pine trunk. The wood was stained dark with something that wasn't sap. A mile later, crude stone blades jutted from tree bark at eye level, arranged in a deliberate line along their route. Each one was knapped with primitive skill but deadly precision. "Someone's hurting us," Riley said. "These aren't random." Jake's breaking point came when they discovered Marcus's hiking boots arranged in a perfect circle around a pile of gnawed bones. White fragments gleamed in the filtered sunlight, picked clean by something with powerful jaws. "This isn't happening," Jake muttered, backing away from the grisly display. "This can't be real." The pursuing presence grew bolder as afternoon shadows lengthened. They could hear it breathing now, deep, hungry inhalations that seemed to taste their fear on the wind. Whatever hunted them was learning their patterns, anticipating their movements. It had been doing this for a long time. Chapter 4. Cornered. Sarah's voice called to them from a grove of aspens 50 yards off the trail. "Help me! I'm hurt!" But Sarah stood right beside Jake and Riley, her face pale with terror. "That's not me," she whispered. "Help!" the voice called again, perfectly mimicking Sarah's tone and inflection. "Please, I can't move." Something crashed through the underbrush, circling their position. The false voice continued calling, always from a different direction, growing more desperate and convincing. Riley grabbed Sarah's arm. "Stay together. Don't." But Jake had already broken, his nerve finally snapping. He ran toward the sound of the voice, crashing through the forest in blind panic. "Jake, no!" Sarah screamed. His anguished cries echoed through the trees for exactly 17 seconds before cutting off abruptly. The silence that followed was absolute. Riley and Sarah found Jake's torn jacket hanging from a branch like a trophy. Below it, strange symbols were carved deep into the bark, primitive markings that hurt to look at directly. Fresh blood dripped from the carved grooves. "It knows how we think," Riley said, his voice hollow. "It's been watching us, learning from us." From the darkness beyond came a sound that might have been laughter, if humans could laugh with mouths full of teeth. Sarah's hand found Riley's. They were the last ones left. Chapter 5. Face to Face. Night fell like a curtain, trapping Riley alone with his terror. Sarah had simply vanished during their desperate flight toward the highway, their one moment gone the next, leaving only the echo of her scream hanging in the cold air. Riley stumbled through the forest, no longer caring about direction or destination. His friends were dead. He knew this with absolute certainty, just as he knew he would soon join them. The sounds had stopped. No more footsteps, no more breathing. The predator was finished playing. Riley collapsed against a massive pine, his strength finally exhausted. Blood seeped from dozens of cuts where branches had torn his skin during his panicked flight through the underbrush. Then he saw it. The thing that stepped from behind a cluster of birch trees had once been human. Its frame suggested a man, but emaciated and wrong, moving with the fluid grace of something that spent its life hunting. Matted hair hung to its shoulders and its face. Riley's mind recoiled from what he saw. The features were recognizably human but primitive, as if evolution had taken a different path. Eyes reflected the starlight like an animal's, and when it opened its mouth, rows of filed teeth gleamed wet in the darkness. Fresh blood covered its naked torso, his friend's blood. Strips of torn clothing hung from its fingers like trophies. Jake's watch still ticked on its wrist. The cannibal made no sound as it approached, studying Riley with the patient interest of a predator that had already won. It carried crude weapons, sharpened bones and knapped stone blades that spoke of intelligence wedded to savagery. Riley tried to run, but his legs wouldn't obey. He could only watch as the thing closed the distance between them, moving with deliberate slowness. It was savoring this moment, the final hunt after days of stalking. The last thing Riley saw was his own terrified reflection in those inhuman eyes before teeth found his throat and the forest claimed another victim. In the morning, hikers would find 4 abandoned backpacks and a disabled SUV on the logging road. But they would never find the bodies. The cannibal had been hunting in these woods for decades, and it was very good at cleaning up after itself.